He starts to eat, and all of a sudden I hear, I'm sick of this, and I hear something fly. I don't know what was going on. I walk out, and there's sweet and sour sauce everywhere. All over the rug, the wall, the door, the ceiling, the carpet, the couch. It's just everywhere. And that's when I realized we had a communication issue. That's when I realized we had a communication issue.
You wanted something to eat, baby. That's what it was. You wanted something to eat.
Another thing for us, when we started this official relationship, it wasn't the first time we tried to have a relationship. We tried to have a relationship like a year prior. But like, I was broken. He was
Say it.
angry.
What? Oh, okay.
I ain't got no other words.
Okay.
You were angry. So it just didn't work out. So in between that time where it didn't work out and time we got together, there's a lot we had to work out with ourselves to even be able to get to the point where we communicate, to be in a relationship with one another, because the year prior we couldn't communicate, which is why it didn't work. It was literally like, oh nah dog, I'm not dealing with this. I'm out. And that's how it was. But that next year, I'm not gonna say I wasn't still broken. I'm not gonna say he wasn't still angry. But there was some work, I guess, done between the two of us, within the two of us, individually, that made it better so that we could work together. And it was really hard. I know for me, he was away in the military and he had some hard times, period. Like, he wasn't, like, his job wasn't easy. And he didn't always have an easy way to go when he was going through training. And so I felt like I took the brunt of a lot of things because I was his only out. So it was like, not only were we learning to communicate with each other as a couple and trying to learn how to be intimate with one another and all of that, but it's also like I'm his only person he can talk to about anything at this time. And so like I feel like I was just catching it all. And that wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, but I had to commit. I had to make up in my mind that I'm committed to. I'm just committed to him this time, and committed to working this thing out and making sure that I understand him, and that I wasn't gonna be a fool or anything. Like, I wasn't gonna let myself like be like run over or anything like that. But I didn't feel like that was what he was doing. I felt like he really just needed somebody to talk to, and I was just that only person, and I couldn't be mad at that, you know what I mean? So I just had to learn how to deal with that and work that out.
And that was in the very beginning of the military, so I had a lot of getting used to of the military in general. So trying to get used to the military and then trying to deal with the relationship, and then I'm angry with the military, and then like you said, I don't have anybody else to turn to but you. So you took a lot of that that anger and frustration that I had. I just had to try to figure out how to get, I guess, get used to, I don't know, the two, or how you say it, whatever the two is. Worry about the balance, the military and the relationship. And
so fast forward, he proposed to me in December. We were supposed to get married in August 2012 after I graduated in May. We found out he was going to deploy December 2011. So we like sped up and was like, okay, we getting married November 2011. We get married November 5th, 2011, and you deployed December 5th, 2011. So we're only married for a month before he deployed to Afghanistan. However, we were only together for 4 days before the wedding and a week after the wedding. And then he goes back to Alaska, and then he goes to Afghanistan. So, like I said, we felt like we were doing good communicating at that point, because it's like, okay, we could talk about anything, or at least we can text and send an email to get out whatever we had on our minds. But it wasn't all good. Like we thought it was all good,
Yeah.
and it wasn't all good, and we didn't realize it wasn't all good until 11 months later,
Right.
when
Right.
he comes home from deployment, and we stuck in the same house, in the same state,
Right.
looking at each other when we mad, like. So now what we supposed to do?
Right.
Eventually, in between there, we had to figure out that balance and how to communicate with each other, because, like I said, we started dating in May. We saw each other in August for the first time since we started dating, and we saw each other in December, and then we were getting married. So in between that time, balance, we did both find balance in when we were gonna talk to each other and things like that. But that didn't change the fact that we still had deficits in our communication. Our communication got really strong in the sense that we would talk about anything and everything. But also, I feel like we had a deficit because we could text about anything. We could email about anything. But if we were on the phone, we wouldn't talk.
Yeah, we couldn't talk.
We couldn't talk verbally.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to bring it up. Or either if we had to talk about something uncomfortable, we would text one another while we on the phone talking, or while we on.
We could be in the same
room. We on
Voodoo
Voodoo back then, or all kinds of stuff.
Oh, Ubu.
Ubu. That's what it was. Yeah, like we'll be on whatever video platform or whatever, and we would text each other because we didn't learn how to talk to one another. It took us to have Josiah for us to listen to each other more.
More, yes.
And be able to communicate more in person.
Yeah.
I think having Josiah put a sense of urgency on communication. It was like, all right, we can't sit and text it out. We ain't got time to be doing all of that. Like, we got to talk about it right then. And I was always a sit down, talk about it right then type person. And he wasn't.
No.
He was like, whatever, I'm going to just
hold it in.
I'm going to hold it in and walk away. And it is what it is in a few days or whatever. But that's not how I live. I don't live like that. We're going to sit here, we're going to talk it out. I'm going to spill out all my truth on the table. You're going to spill out all yours. And that's how it's going to happen. You couldn't stand it. Well, we still do that. You still can't stand it?
No, I said I couldn't stand it. I couldn't. So you got to listen to my words, baby. You changed my word. I said couldn't. I said I can't.
You don't mind it now.
It's alright.
Alright. So yeah, I'm gonna put it all out on the table. We gotta talk about it right now, because I can't go to sleep with this hanging over my shoulders, over my head. Like, I can't do that. I don't like going to bed angry. I ain't never like going to bed angry. He ain't never slept on the couch a day in our marriage.
I even tried. Can't even sleep on no couch.
No, I don't do none of that. Like, we're gonna work out these problems because we try to make this last forever. Hey. Get on my nerves.
I was supposed to join in.
Yes. Too late.
You're not gonna join in with me, baby. You gonna leave me hanging.
Your PTSD was like on 1,005.
Yeah.
And I couldn't handle it no more. I was literally at the point where I just couldn't take it. Like, I couldn't do anything without you seemingly being angry at me.
Right.
And yeah. So we had a big come to Jesus meeting about 6 months after he got out of the military. And that's when our communication started this steady uptick. And not only did our communication start a steady uptick, but our love life and our marriage and everything started to improve from that day. But at that point, we had been married for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
We had been married for 3.5 years at that point. So we went through our whole first 3 years of marriage.
It's pretty rough.
Roughing it. Roughing it. So for me, I had to get to the point where I just decided that I'm going to love him the way God wanted me to love him, as his wife. And so I was reminded of 1 Corinthians 13:4 through 13 that says, love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no records of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be still. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part, and prophecy in part. But when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put away the weights of childhood behind me. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. But again, like for me, it started with being reminded that love is patient, love is kind. And it took for me to start thinking before I spoke and thinking, okay, is what I'm about to say patient? Is what I'm about to say kind? You have to give a response versus a reaction. When you want to communicate well in marriage. It's so easy to react. It's so easy to walk downstairs and see stuff a mess and be like, man, you down here with the kids and you did, like, you like, don't do all this stuff, like, versus stopping to think, he down here with the kids, but he done fed them lunch, they done went outside, they done did this, they done did that. It's toys around because he been outside, he been doing daddy duties. Like, dad come back in and clean up in a little bit. So you have to give a response versus a reaction. So the response would be, oh, let me straighten up the living room because I ain't doing nothing right now, but I know he been doing X, Y, and Z with the kids. You know what I mean? Like, that makes a big difference. Right. And I'm not going to say we perfected that at all. No. Sometimes we can be very reactive. Sometimes we can be very reactive. Just in the moment, frustration get to you, and you just react versus giving a response. Another thing we had to learn in order to communicate better was to not take offense when the other person is trying to tell you how they feel.
Right.
Like, I ain't just gonna throw him under the bus and be like, he used to take offenses all the time. But I did too. Anytime he tried to say something to me, I'm not gonna say I was always in a place where I could receive it. Everybody a little stubborn. I'm a little more stubborn than most. Yeah, I'm a little more stubborn than most. I'm gonna admit that. But I know I used to take offense when it came to him saying, you know, I think we should do something like this, or I think this is how things go, or this is how I feel. Because nobody want to hear the truth.
Right.
But I'm also a truth disher. So because I'm a truth disher, I have to be a truth taker. So I haven't always shown a lot of grace when I dished out the truth either. So I can see why he might have took offense. I'm having revelations as we talk right now.
The Lord's talking to you.
You know? But no, really, like, I can see, like, you could have been offensive because of my delivery.
Is that so?
Was that it though? Was that it a lot of the time? Honestly, like,
maybe. Yeah, your delivery a lot of times, yes. The way you say things, yes, absolutely.
The way I say things, not say things.
Well,
we talk about recent.
Here we go.
Like,
yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of times, a lot of things that you have said, yes, the way it came off, yes.
Even if it was the truth though. Like with some things,
I mean,
would you still realize
no, it's the thing, the truth is cool. It's just, I mean, oh, you know how I talk about like your facial expressions and like a lot of that all the time?
Yeah. But I can't help what's on my face. I can't see my face.
No, I mean, I don't know.
Is that an excuse? I can't help what's on my face. I'm gonna have to work on that. Everybody always tell me like my face look totally different from what I got going on.
Yeah.
That's another form of communication. That body language. That body language will make you take offense. Like my face has a mind of its own, and when I watch myself on video, I realize just how many faces I make.
You probably made about 4 or 5 just in that one sentence. About 4 or 5 different faces.
I mean, I'm an animated person, but when you communicate with your spouse, I mean, you have to know the things that are going to trigger them, because you don't want to create an offensive environment. That's not what you want. That's not the goal.
Right. I guess also not knowing. I mean, we were in the beginning of our marriage anyway, so I had to get used to knowing how you, I guess, handle things, like how you go about discussing and talking to me, and in conversation, as far as like telling me the truth, basically how you tell the truth. I had to learn how, okay, this is just her really telling me the truth, and she's not really being, I don't know,
malicious.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah,
a lot of the time I feel like he thought I was being malicious.
Probably,
and I never did anything to be malicious. It was more so like, nah, I just gotta get this off my chest.
But
like I
how
said,
it came off though, to where I thought probably it was me being malicious.
Yeah, I can believe that. Like, I don't always have the best delivery, even to this day. But
are we cool now? We good now?
We're
I
good.
got it.
Yeah, we communicate well, but so we had to learn not to take offense when we were speaking to one another. We had to learn how to speak to one another out of love.
Right.
We did a lot of talking about love languages at that time in our marriage, and about how I felt like my love tank was empty. You would go to work and you would come home. I had stopped working, and so was staying home with Josiah, and you would go to work and you would come home, and you had school too, which was cool, but I felt like I was getting no time, like, to myself. I felt like I was getting nothing from you as far as my love language, just acts of service and words of affirmation. I felt like I had stopped hearing also, when he was in the military, I would always get texts and emails all the time, not just to talk about problems, but hey, beautiful, how you doing? And I felt like after we were together every day and had to see each other every day, like the hey, beautiful stopped. I wasn't getting the how you doing and how you feeling type things. It was just like, all right, I'm home, let's cook dinner, eat dinner, wash clothes, clean clothes, take care of the kids. Maybe we'll watch some TV. He gonna do what he got to do, and I'm do whatever I figure out I'm gonna do. And it had become to a point where we were just living around each other, but we weren't living with each other.
Yeah.
Because we weren't communicating the way we needed to with each other. Yeah, we weren't communicating. That's why everything came to a head the way it did. And we had to have that big conversation. But after that big conversation, that big blowout, because it was really like, these things have to be fixed, or I can't stay in this marriage. And he understood that. Like,
right.
it was that big at that moment. Like, these things gotta be fixed, so I can't stay here. And it wasn't like me trying to, like, again, I wasn't being malicious. He just knew that I was being honest, and I laid out the reasons why I couldn't. The two becoming one, us becoming one, when it comes to communication, we both had to shed some things that we had become a part of us that we were comfortable with, that either we grew up hearing or grew up with or grew up doing, that we just couldn't do anymore. Like, I know one thing for me, like I said, I'm a truth bearer. Like, we gonna speak about it right now. We gonna put it all out on the table. But when I think about love is patient, everything can't come out right then and there. Like, I had to learn everything that come up can't come out, cause I would just say it. Like, if it can't, just, like, I couldn't hold it. I couldn't contain it. it would just come out, and that caused a lot of arguments a lot of the time because I didn't wait, I didn't think about it. I reacted, I didn't respond, so that was hard. Another thing for me, well, something else for me.
Yeah, he used to call me names a lot. When I was in the barracks, he used to call me names a lot. And
I don't remember that. I still don't remember that. I don't remember calling you names. I probably remember calling you like 2 names.
You remember 2 names?
Yeah. Like, I probably remember saying like 2 names. Yeah. But the way I grew up, like, it was a lot of verbal abuse in my household. Like, a lot of name calling, a lot of cursing. So when we first got married, like, I did what I knew.
Right.
I did what I knew.
Yeah.
Like, I got angry. We started fussing. Call you name. Curse at you. That's what I knew. But he did it that like week 1. I think we've been married 2 days, and we had gotten an argument about who knows what. Something stupid.
About, I don't know. I don't know.
Do you remember?
I want to say it had something to do with the airport or something, or the plane, or some flights, or something. I want to say it had something to do with when I was leaving, where I was flying. I don't know.
That sounds about right.
Yeah,
we argued about anything. So, and we got into an argument. And I think I called him stupid, and I cursed.
You probably.
And he rose up. He was like, "What you not gonna do is curse at me. Like, you're not gonna curse at me, and you're not gonna call me names. If you're gonna do that, we might as well get divorced right now." We've been married for like 3 days. I'm like, okay. Like, and that was it. I didn't curse it. Well, no, I can't say I didn't curse it no more. I probably cursed like 2 more times.
Yeah, call me names.
Or 3 more times. I never called him no more names.
No, never called him
but
no names.
I probably did curse a few more times. But,
Was that 2 or 3? You remember?
I did. Like, I know this is kingdom love and we love the Lord, but my mouth was hot. Like, it was. So, I'll admit that. But yeah, like, he did it that first week. And so I made sure of that in the very beginning. But we also had to learn how to not go back to offenses for a second, not take offenses when we're telling each other the things that, you know, kind of need to be changed. Because I could have took offense and be like, no, I'm gonna that's how I grew up, and I'm gonna still do it, and da 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 da. And you married me, and this is how I was when you married me, you know. But I didn't.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I understand that. Like, I'm gonna respect your wishes.
Right.
Like, you don't want me to call you names and curse, which they aren't good things anyway.
Right.
So I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But for him, he was very clingy. For lack of better words, like, even being distant, like, if I didn't answer my phone when he called, he would get really angry. So then when we got together, when we actually started living together after being married, you know, and we were married 3 years, and by the time we had 3.5 years married, we had only lived together full time for 6 months.
Right.
But learned to live together, like, he still wanted like all of my time, and he would get mad if I went to the store, like anything without him. Like, he would get really upset, and I had to let him know, like, I can't live like this. I would go be single by myself before I live like this. And did he take offense at first? Yeah, he did take offense at first. But then he come around and realize, like, okay, I'm being a bit ridiculous. Yeah, he did do that too. And sometimes you're gonna have to talk about things more than once. It's not like a one and done situation.
It's not a one time.
That's a part of that. Love is patient.
Yes.
Love is kind. God shows us grace every day. Like, he don't owe us nothing, but he wakes us up every day and he blesses us every day. And that's how you have to be in your marriage. I'm not saying be a fool. I'm not saying be crazy. There's definitely deal breakers. Like, we have deal breakers within our marriage. Like, he absolutely knows what my deal breakers are.
Right.
I mean, cheating being the main deal breaker. Like, if you cheat, that's it. Like, I'm done.
Right. Can't
But
wear pink do-rag.
what?
Can't wear pink do-rag.
Oh yeah, he sent me a picture of this pink do-rag. It was like a velvet pink do-rag. First of all, I don't like the color pink. Second of all, he sent me this do-rag saying he was gonna get it. I was like, nah, that's grounds for divorce. Like, pink velvet do-rag, that's grounds for divorce. But anywho,
cheating in a do-rag, that's what it is.
Cheating in a do-rag. But I'm not saying that you have to be foolish, and definitely don't stick with people that are abusing you and things like that. But like, we had to let one another know, like, these are the things that we can deal with, these are the things we can't deal with, and we had to let each other know more than one time. So we had to be patient with the person and like, okay, I know we talked about this 6 months ago, we need to talk about it again. You did good for 3 months, but these last 3 months,
right,
it don't seem like I seen no change, so we're gonna talk about this thing again. And for us, I mean, there have been a couple conversations we had to have 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6 times. But it's all about going back to remembering 1 Corinthians. Love is patient, love is kind. Love does not keep record of wrong. And ultimately, love does conquer all. Love does conquer all. But you have to make up in your mind that love will conquer all, that love can conquer all. Because loving is a choice.
it is.
Loving is a choice, and it's a choice you have to make every day. If you want to become one with your spouse, you have to make that choice to love them every day. I'm gonna love you through our communication hurdles. I'm gonna love you when I'm mad at you. I'm gonna love you, man, just like Meredith Grey. Meredith Grey, y'all. I'm a Grey's Anatomy fan a little bit. But Meredith Grey, y'all, her sticky note, she wrote, her and her husband, they had a sticky note marriage just to kick you down. Watch Grey's Anatomy. They got married and they wrote their vows on a post-it. And one of the things she said was, you have to love me even when you're mad at me. And that's like so true. Yeah, love me even when you hate me. That's what she said. You have to love me even when you hate me. And that's so true.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many times, I'm not gonna say I hated you per se. So many times I didn't like you. I definitely didn't like you.
Right.
You know what I mean? There was times in our marriage where I didn't like myself. But I had to love him even when I hated him, just like I love myself even when I hate myself. And another thing that helped me get through a lot of it was to think about, like, I gotta be patient with my own self. I had been trying to learn and grow for years. Like, I can't expect this man to come in and like be a master at being patient with me. I don't know how to be patient with me. So communication is just a big portion of becoming one.
Yeah.
In marriage. Like,